Sometimes the conversation ends, but it doesn't end inside you. The messages stop, the screen goes dark, nothing more is being said, and still you stay there, reading the last sentence again, wondering if your silence meant something, wondering if you should have answered differently or sooner, or at all. There are people who can put their phone down and continue with their day. And then there are people who continue carrying the conversation long after it has already ended. Not because the conversation was important, but because it somehow became part of them. A delayed reply can become a question. A short answer can become doubt. A period at the end of a sentence can become something to analyze. Not because they enjoy overthinking, but because they quietly learned that paying attention to every emotional detail kept relationships safe. Somewhere along the way, responding stopped being communication. It became responsibility. Every notification asked something of you. Every unread message felt unfinished. Every pause felt like something that belonged to you, so you answered. Even when you were tired. Even when your thoughts were somewhere else. Even when you needed silence more than another conversation. Not because anyone demanded it. Sometimes nobody did. The expectation had already moved inside you. You became the person who replied quickly. The one who never left anyone wondering. The one who noticed every shift in someone's tone before they even spoke about it. And after a while, people weren't the only ones expecting that version of you. You expected it from yourself. Being available started feeling like kindness. Responding immediately started feeling like proof that you cared. And when you couldn't do it anymore, something inside you became uneasy. The message stayed unopened a little longer. Your phone lit up again. You saw the name. You knew the conversation was waiting. And almost immediately, guilt arrived before any decision had been made. Not because you wanted to ignore someone, not because you no longer cared, but because for the first time, you didn't rush to put someone else's expectations ahead of your own quiet. That can feel unfamiliar. You may notice yourself reaching for your phone without thinking, opening a conversation simply because you don't want anyone to wait, typing a reply while you're exhausted. Not because the words are ready, but because silence has always felt heavier than honesty. There is a quiet pressure in always being emotionally available. It isn't loud enough for anyone else to notice. From the outside, you simply seem thoughtful, reliable, present. But inside, every conversation asks for a little more than you have left. Not because people are asking too much. Sometimes they aren't. Sometimes the weight comes from the way you've learned to carry every interaction. You replay conversations after they end. You remember expressions. You wonder if someone misunderstood you. You think about sending one more message just to make sure everything is okay. As if every conversation remains unfinished until everyone feels comfortable again. But maybe that was never your responsibility. Maybe conversations were never meant to stay with you for hours. Maybe they were allowed to end where they ended. That realization doesn't always feel peaceful. Sometimes it feels almost careless. You leave a message unanswered for an evening. You decide to reply tomorrow instead of immediately. Nothing dramatic happens. And yet, your mind keeps returning to it, as though you've forgotten something important. As though someone somewhere is quietly disappointed because of you. That feeling can be difficult to explain, because it isn't really about the message anymore. It's about the role you've carried for so long. The one who keeps everything moving. The one who notices first. The one who reaches out first. The one who never lets silence stay for too long. There is comfort in being needed. Even when it becomes exhausting, there is familiarity in always responding. Even when you no longer have the energy. Sometimes we mistake constant availability for closeness. As if love can only exist while we're always reachable, always ready, always emotionally present. But perhaps closeness was never measured by response time. Perhaps care was never supposed to feel like constant urgency. Perhaps silence was never the enemy you believed it to be. The first time you allow a conversation to rest, something inside you keeps reaching back toward it. You wonder whether they misunderstood, whether they expected more, whether you should explain why you needed space. And then another quiet realization appears. You don't always have to explain your silence for it to be real. Not every pause requires a reason. Not every delayed reply is a rejection. Not every unanswered message means someone has been abandoned. Some moments simply belong to your own breathing, to your own quiet, to your own life outside the screen. You begin noticing that the world keeps moving. People continue with their day. Conversations find their way back, or sometimes they don't. And somehow, life continues either way. That realization is smaller than you expected, but it changes something, not all at once. Just enough for you to stop checking your phone every few minutes. Enough to finish your tea before replying. Enough to finish your thoughts before opening someone else's. Enough to let an evening belong to yourself again. You are not becoming distant. You are not becoming uncaring. You are simply discovering that your attention has limits. And those limits do not make your care less real. There will still be days when you answer immediately. Days when conversations feel light. Days when being present comes naturally. But there will also be evenings when silence feels kinder than another reply. When your own thoughts ask for your attention first. When the conversation can wait until tomorrow. And perhaps nothing important will be lost because of that. Perhaps what has been waiting all along was not another response, but the quiet realization that you no longer have to carry every conversation home with you.